Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's Southwest Hearts Link for Growth TV show. As usual, you can get in touch with us at L4G SWHerts. That's at L4G SWHerts, which is, of course, a Twitter link. And we look forward to seeing your comments and hearing your comments and what you have to say. There's only the three of us doing the show today. That's Chris, Neal, and myself. But we've still got a full show with lots of good, interesting news and things to do over the bank holiday weekend. I'll be talking about how Watford Borough Council are having a crackdown on misuse of blue badges, for the disability parking badges. The bandstand, which we've previewed before, reopens on Casbury Park this Sunday, and there's a warning for those of you who are thinking about a barbecue this weekend from Three Rivers District Council and Food Standards Agency. Neal, interesting week at Watford.
Yeah, highs and lows all week. Yeah, we'll be doing a review of the Chelsea game and the Gillingham game, talking about some comings and goings, and we'll have a preview of the Arsenal game and some local sport. Okay,
that's great. And Chris, as I said, it's a big weekend because it's bank holiday weekend. There's lots on this weekend, and you've got details of that for us.
Yes, I have. Someone said this morning to me that it's a long weekend, but actually it's the same length as they always are. It's just there's a bank holiday Monday attached to the end of it, which means everyone's off. But yeah, we've got the last weekend of the big screen and the beach at the top of the town. That'll all be getting dismantled next week. So you've got until I think it's Monday to enjoy those festivities. Let's hope the weather keeps good for that. Looks like it's going to be all right, so that's good news. Got lots of film action for you. We've got lots of fundraising. The 3 hospices are in action with lots of stuff going on in September, and we've got some new yellow comedy events, which new venues that have opened up. And actually, there's a thing called Dial Up, which I'll tell you about while I'm talking about that, which was for the first time in the kitchen in Croxley last week, and happened to catch sight of the same guy last night at the Fresh Shop, and he's launched a new date for his Dial Up in Watford there, which replaces the Attico event. So I can tell you about that as well.
Okay, that's great. Okay, well, last weekend was the first Link for Growth event of the week, and that was a Link for Breakfast on Sunday morning at the Junction Cafe in St Albans Road. That was followed by 2 events on Monday, with Cafe Loco hosting a coffee morning on in Northwood, that is, hosting a coffee morning on Monday morning, and on Monday evening at Reason, Neal hosted a Link for Growth coffee evening, and Chris and a colleague of ours called David Swear talked about a new TV show all about local history. Well, David knows an awful lot about local history, so it should be a fascinating show, and I look forward to seeing it. And then on Tuesday, there was a Link for Help on Tuesday morning, that is, at the kitchen in Croxley, which is where people can go along and get help on business and education matters and things like that from a team of experts who happen to volunteer their times. So, you know, if you want web advice and stuff like that, there's usually someone there who understands about web development who can offer it, and that's just one of many ranges of activities. And then yesterday at LJ's Coffee House in the morning, there was a Link for Coffee there, and that's the venue that we're going to be talking about later on, isn't it, Chris?
It is indeed. Good old Jackie there, and she was involved in the coffee, but yeah, she's got the first of her yellow comedies tonight, which is brilliant.
Okay, let's start with some news. Watford Council have prosecuted 2 people in connection with the misuse of these blue badge labels that you can use to park your car on double yellow lines or single yellow lines, or if you're dropping a passenger off or collecting a passenger off who has a disability. 2 people got fined in St Albans Magistrate Court the other Wednesday, and this is part of a big crackdown. by Watford Borough Council on the misuse of these disability badges. They allow people with the badge to park near their destination on the single and double yellow lines, as I said, and certain pay and display bays without charge. It can be used if a disabled person is a driver or a passenger in the vehicle, or by someone dropping off or collecting someone. If it's not used in those circumstances, it's a criminal offence, and the badge can be confiscated. The elected Mayor of Watford, Dorothy Thornhill, said, "We take the blue badge fraud very seriously. These badges are an important tool for the disabled and should not be misused under any circumstances. Our fraud officers do watch out for this. Don't risk months of worry and a fine to save 5 minutes of your time and a small parking fee." So obviously, this is something that's going to be going on for quite a while. It would appear from what Dorothy Thornhill's been saying. So yeah, you should keep your blue badge. Don't lend it to people and allow them to abuse it.
So Diane, just a quick one on that. What was the prosecution about? I mean, how were they inappropriately used?
They were used by two people who just basically took the badges from relatives and used it to park on double yellow lines or single yellow lines to get things like one to go to the bank, another one used her husband's badge to collect some medication for him, but she was the only one in the car and he wasn't around, so therefore she's not allowed to use the badge apparently. So obviously they just parked in places where they were blocking the flow of traffic, and yet they were perfectly able to walk those distances and get those things, get the items they needed without inconveniencing all the traffic, and it is regarded as fraud according to Watford Town Hall, because obviously they've got their fraud department looking into it as to why people are using them when they're not disabled.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah, and I know they are quite frequently abused, but obviously because I've seen it for myself, because I have a relative who has one of these blue badges and who uses it for themselves. They get very frustrated when they can't park, when two 18-year-olds get out of the car with a blue badge on it and run off somewhere.
Well, my mum's got a blue badge, and you know, when I'm driving her around and stuff, it's quite handy to have that. But can't say I've ever used it indiscriminately with her not being there. So yeah, happy to hear that that's being enforced.
Can I chip in on that one? Just a little note, and it's absolutely, if anyone is abusing the blue badge system, my father used to have a blue badge, they should absolutely be prosecuted. But do remember the people who have invisible disabilities, who may be deservedly have a blue badge. So please be careful challenging people just because you think they might not deserve a blue badge.
Yeah, so if it's Chris on his own, he's not allowed to use it. If it's Chris with his mum, he can use it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Chris, I hope that clarifies it for you.
That's the only way I've ever used it. So
I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it. Now, some good news. The bandstand, the beautiful bandstand, as it's been described, is back at Castlemaine Park. It's been away for complete set of refurbishment, as it's been relocated back to the park from outside the library. The Hill and Smith structure was originally opened in the park in 1912. At the time, Castlemaine House was still home to the Earls of Essex. The manor was demolished in 1927 when the Earls ran into financial difficulties and could no longer afford to maintain it. Watford Borough Council bought most of the park between 1908 and 1913, so the beauty spot could be enjoyed by the wider public. For years, the public bandstand attracted thousands in the audience as bands performed there. But until the 1970s, the structure then had fallen into disrepair and it was threatened with demolition. Erica Adams, an artist, local artist, painted the bandstand when she heard about its plight in 1971 and contacted the Watford Observer in an attempt to try and save the bandstand. Watford, she got the backing of key movers and shakers, including musicians who left the bandstand, and began a campaign to save it. The council found a new home for the bandstand in Watford Square, as I said, next to the Central Library. But now, with the funding from Central Lottery, it has returned to its original location in the park. The opening of the bandstand will take place between 1:30 and 6 p.m. on Sunday, the 4th of September. Sorry, that's a week on Sunday, with music and festivities galore. The move is part of the council-led £6.6 million restoration project, as I said, funded by the Heritage Lottery Fund and the Big Lottery Funds. It's also seen, as we talked about last week, the opening of the Char Char Cafe following some extensive refurbishment. Again, Dorothy Thornhill was quoted as saying, "We're delighted to return the bandstand to its original home and can't wait for the grand opening on Sunday the 4th of September. It seems such a long time since the bandstand came under threat, and we're delighted to return it to its former glory." For those who are unaware, yes, Wednesday was the last day that BHS was opened in Watford. The store, which was on the part of the Into shopping centre, closed its doors finally on Wednesday evening, following many years in Watford and 87 years total as an organisation. This is part of the legacy of it being sold on by Sir Philip Green for £1, and of course, as I'm sure for those of you who have followed the national news, it's caused 11,000 job losses, biggest failure in British retail sector since the demise of Woolworths. Many people in Watford have been lamenting its closure, saying it's a disgrace, and some members of the staff have been working at this particular store for almost 30 years. So obviously they've been there a long time. It's a company they felt happy at, and they're going to obviously now have to start looking for new work. And of course the retail sector's taken quite a lot of hammering, but hopefully they can find some new work in the redeveloped Charter Place area. Three Rivers District Council are saying don't...
Just one thing, Diane, on that. The renovation of the Into Centre, the Charter Place, I'm not 100% sure that there's a lot of additional jobs. There were lots of jobs there originally, which are obviously gone, and now there's new places with new operators, but I'm not 100% sure we're talking about a net increase in employment. I don't know. I'm just saying that it's all very well saying there's going to be all these jobs in these new places.
Well, at the moment, the jobs in the retail sector from Charter Place have disappeared, but they will come back when Charter Place reopens, won't it?
Yeah, that's what I mean is in terms of the project,
yeah,
there may be a small net increase, but clearly, it's been touted as bringing a lot of jobs to the area, but in actual fact, when you look at it, it's not what it's being said. You have to look into it a bit deeper.
I think we will. I think we will at some point. And if we'd had more people around today, perhaps I could have sent you out to find out a bit more about that. But
no, I'm not saying we need to talk about it. I was just saying that I'm just making a point that we might want to visit that later on.
Yes, exactly. I mean, you are right, but I'm saying the jobs are coming back, and therefore there might be a slight increase. And also the other thing that we need to remember is that the balance between restaurants and shops is going to change in the new Charter Place from what it was in the old Charter Place, with a lot more restaurants compared to what there used to be, and slightly fewer shops. So I think it's very much a case of watch this space and see how many new jobs are actually created in the long term, and how many of them are just jobs coming back into the area. Three Rivers District Council have reminded everyone that this weekend being a bank holiday, to be very careful when you're cooking your barbecues. And they're saying don't burger up your bank holiday. A nice pun there. This is a Food Standards Agency warning about food poisoning and making sure that you do cook your hamburgers and chicken and everything else that you cook on the barbecue properly. Apparently 5 million Brits at risk of food poisoning from pink burgers on bank holiday barbecues, according to the research released today by the National Food Standards Agency on National Burger Day. Apparently 71% of people stated that they're concerned about food poisoning, and over a third, 36% of Brits, would eat a burger that isn't fully cooked through. More than 1/10 said they actually prefer burgers cooked this way. So I don't know how you guys like your burgers, but if you do like them pink, just be a bit careful.
I don't think it's the burgers, Diane, to be honest, unless they're ham or pork. But in actual fact, beef doesn't have to be cooked all the way through necessarily, as we all know. But what I would say is, if you're cooking chicken that's been out for a little while, or you're cooking pork, then you do want to make sure that it is cooked all the way through. That's a very sensible thing to do.
This particular warning is about burgers for some reason, Chris. I don't know because I don't eat beef. But anyway, that's a different matter. But it's just talking about beef burgers and that sort of thing. So I always assumed beef burgers were beef and onion and a few other bits and pieces. But they're saying here, make sure they're properly cooked through.
It's more likely to be a cross-contamination issue, I would have thought, because people are keeping raw chicken and raw meat in the same drawers in the fridges and stuff.
Exactly, and that's what they go. That's what they go on to say in the press release. Hertfordshire County Council have put out a warning for all young people to get vaccinated against meningitis. Lots of young people are going to college or university this autumn should get vaccinated soon to protect against the rising cases of meningitis. Meningitis W, and septicemia. Meningitis is inflammation of the lining of the brain, and septicemia is blood poisoning, a very serious disease. It's caused by meningococcal bacteria. Both diseases can be fatal, but they're easily prevented. Cases of meningitis W have been increasing year on year, from 22 cases in 2009 to more than 200 cases in the past 12 months. There are a number of different types of infections and vaccine. The vaccine gives protection against 4 of them. Meningitis A, C, W and Y. These infections can be deadly and survivors can be left with life-changing disabilities. Young people going to university or college are particularly at risk of meningitis and septicemia because they mix with so many other students, some of whom are unknowingly carrying the bacteria. Ideally, young people should get vaccinated before the term starts to ensure immunity. Anyone can get their jab from their new GP in the college town or from their GP at home. GPs will be writing to people in the following groups: all 17 and 18-year-olds, and all 19-year-olds who missed getting vaccinated last year, to advise them that anyone up to the age of 25 to get vaccinated by their GP. The disease can develop suddenly and progresses rapidly. Early symptoms include headache, vomiting, muscle pain, fever, and cold hands and feet. Students should be alert to the signs and symptoms, should not wait for the rash to develop before seeking medical attention urgently. Students are also encouraged to look out for their housemates and friends, particularly if they go to their room unwell. So obviously that's a recommendation there from Herts County Council, and I've been aware that it does happen a lot. Unfortunately, you hear about it more in the news than perhaps one would wish, and it is a terrible disease. Chris, you had meningitis.
I have. Run that by me again. How many cases we're talking about here?
200.
Well, I mean, I don't know how many people go to university, but to be absolutely honest with you, we're talking about a very small percentage here, really, in relation to the amount of vaccinations that would take place, which would be unnecessary. I'm not a particular supporter or dissupporter of vaccines, but you know, it's not a very nice disease, but it seems like a sledgehammer to crack a nut. There are lots of things we could be spending money on, and you know, this, yeah, I think it's a bit of scaremongering, to be honest. I really don't think that we should just be charging out and getting vaccinated for what is a fairly small. Why aren't they getting vaccinated when they go to secondary school? Lots of people there as well.
I honestly don't know, because I don't know enough about it beyond the fact that I know one or two other people who have had it, and they all talk about how nasty and unpleasant it was, and how lucky they are to still be around. So maybe.
Well, I had it when I was 6, which is a long time ago, and I remember what it was like because it was bad. Because I remember, you know, those sorts of things stick in your mind. But you know, we're very, very lucky that we had a local doctor that was able to spot the signs of what it was, and there was a viral version, a bacterial version, and one's a bit worse than the other. Both can kill you, but yeah, I mean, I think if you're aware of it and you know what it is, it's not difficult to treat. It's just if it goes on a bit longer than it should do, then obviously it gets progressively more advanced, and you run the risk of permanent damage, which is not a good thing.
Okay. The Herts Council have won protection for a historic farmhouse. The late 18th century farmhouse is of special historic interest just outside Chenley, which isn't that far outside our district. The earmark for change has been saved by quick-thinking planners. Officers intervened when the owner of the farmhouse notified the council that they wanted to build a large extension of the property, which itself requires significant renovation. Wild Farm, known as White House, was built during the Agricultural Revolution. Its grand style was designed to reflect the wealth of the landowner. After Historic England, formerly English Heritage, was asked to investigate the building, now has a Grade 2 listed status, which provides extra protection against further changes to its interior or exterior. Chris Lyons, Head of Planning and Economic Regeneration, said, for Herts Borough Council, said, this is a great result for us, and it shows that the council will take all the necessary steps to protect the area heritage. When we received notification from the owners of Wild Farm that wanted to build an extension, we acted quickly but immediately, serving the statutory notice giving a wider risk to the property associated with the extension and renovation of the house. At the same time, we wrote Historic England to consider applying for a listing on the property, and we're delighted to hear that their assessor has agreed with the council and their own conservation officer that the property should be listed. So the council now saying that they're keen to work with property owners to ensure that the appropriate scheme for the extension and renovation of the White House can be achieved. It's a case of saving something for the local heritage here, local architectural heritage. There aren't that many historic buildings in the area, are there, Chris? You know quite a lot about local history, and there are actually very few listed buildings in this area, to my knowledge.
I think that there are quite a few, whether they're on the local listings or whether they're on the national listings. There are a few around, but yeah, I mean, Watford had decimated their old buildings in the high street a long time ago, but there are still some there. But they did have a bit of a rampage back in the sort of 70s and stuff, knocking down a lot of what would now be protected, but in those days less so. So yeah. Yeah,
I mean, my father lived in Watford from before the war, and he reckons that Watford town planners did a better job at destroying the town than the Luftwaffe did. That's his personal opinion. Anyway, Herts Borough Council are encouraging you, following on from the success of Team GB in Rio, to get active and to take part in a whole lot of activities which they've got going on throughout the borough. These are listed on their website, and they include in the Bushy Grove Leisure Centre a squash championship, badminton is available, table tennis all day. One for you, Chris. but they're playing it all day either in the foyer or outside. So step classes, Zumba classes, and swimming. So obviously they've arranged a whole load of activities for tomorrow. For you to get down and try out all these activities, and maybe if you've been inspired by the Olympics, it's perhaps time to get down and do some activities and enjoy the fun. That's it for all the local news. Now, Neal,
Hello.
Hi. Shall we start with the Chelsea game? Watford lost, but they did lead, and your prediction was nearly right.
Yes, I was nearly right, but can't be right all the time. Yeah, Watford started the game really well. In fact, we were bossing Chelsea for long periods of the game, and Kapui, who didn't score all last season, popped up and with a tremendous goal to put Watford 1-0, and we were looking steady for long parts of the game. But actually, a fate we suffered that West Ham suffered the previous week of a player by the name of Mr. Costa, who the referees don't seem to want to send off these days, was on a yellow card, as he was at West Ham. Blatant dive, blatant second yellow card, and the referee bottled the decision. After that, we went into our shell. They made 3 substitutions, and unluckily, the man who should have been sent off popped up and scored a late winner for Chelsea. So we were robbed, as they like to say in football.
Okay, now Gillingham in the cup. Something of a surprise here.
Yeah, an embarrassment, and not so much being robbed either. We were quite in control of the game for the first hour or so. Matty Vidge were playing up front. He came off, and things seemed to go backwards. We lost our shape. They gained confidence. But when you make so many changes and you've got a lot of reserve players playing, and players who really aren't in form and not playing very well, upsets are always on the card, and they wanted it much more than we did. And the game went into extra time, even though Watford were 1-0 up. Gillingham got a late equaliser, and they got the winner in extra time, and deservedly so. Walter Mazzari has apologised to the fans for the performance. He said it's not good enough, and the players need to change their mental attitude. He's going to work on that, because he's worried that the fact that we've been up in all 3 games so far this season and only got 1 draw and 2 defeats. So he said we need to change our attitude when we go up and keep fighting rather than sit back and let teams come at us.
Yeah. Is it a question of fitness as well? Because I have read in 1-2 reports saying that the team don't look fit.
Well, against Chelsea, we certainly slowed our pace of game down. We stopped playing the pressing game, sort of like with half an hour left. And that would indicate that some of the players must have been struggling with their fitness to me.
So would it have helped if they brought on the substitutes earlier against Chelsea?
It may have, and again, Mazzari seems to be. He doesn't. Well, we don't know. It's only been 2 league games, but he hasn't made early substitutions yet. I don't know, because the problem is, what if the other players out there mentality changes on the pitch? It's hard for a substitute to come on and change that. Yes, sometimes a fresh pair of legs does change it, but if everyone on the pitch has all of a sudden got a little bit defensive and not closing down as quickly, 1 substitution, 2 substitutions isn't necessarily going to change that.
Okay, we'll talk about the Arsenal game a bit later on, but in the meantime, it's been another frantic week of transfer activity, with 3 players coming in since, or 2 confirmed that we talked about last week, and that's Yunus Kabul and the former Juventus player Roberto Pereira. Both of those we talked about last week a little bit. They've both now arrived, yeah? And they've both got work permits and they're ready to go for tomorrow.
They're both Watford players, they're both ready to go. I don't know if they'll be rushed into the matchday squad, actually. Pereira may be so, because he's such a big name and an influential player. I would be a little bit surprised not to see him at least on the bench. But coming so late in, they won't be guaranteed a place against Arsenal, because we have a massive squad of players. So I think Mazzari might even want to just have a last look at a few players before he has to name his squad of 25. because don't forget we've got to offload a lot of players on loan and that to trim down the number of foreigners. So I wouldn't be surprised if they don't all feature this week.
Okay, and they also Watford this week signed former Newcastle United Dutch defender Daryl Janmaat.
Yes, that's quite a good signing actually, and it was one that came out of the blue. There was no real rumours of this one, and all of a sudden it turns up and he had signed. It's quite an exciting player, a wing back, which is incredibly bad news for Paredes. He will definitely be on the way now. He will be one of the foreigners out of the door because that's two wing backs we've signed this season. So that'll be Paredes on his way. But then now we've got, and it also puts the position of, I don't know how to say this gentleman's name, but it's Deja. That's how it's spelled. He was injured just before we signed him, and we presumed he was going to be ready for the start of the season, but he hasn't even started training properly yet. So that's going to put his position in jeopardy in the matchday squad as well, squad of 25. So it's going to be interesting times.
Okay, so that's who's come in. People who are going out, it appears that whereas once we used to borrow the squad of Udinese players, they're now borrowing a squad of Watford players with Christian Cabasel.
Yes, and signed not so long ago for several £1 million. And I think it just shows the draw of the Premier League, tell the truth, how you can get names to come in to the Premier League. And it's the same model they used to get Watford promoted and to keep us in the Premier League, loaning players, and they're looking at doing it the other way, which is it's good for them and good for Udinese and good for Watford that we're attracting those players.
Okay, who else? Because they are talking about trimming the squad. Vidra's had several clubs after, including Derby being reported. You've talked about Paredes. Who else do you think will go?
Yeah, Vidra's an interesting one because he definitely wants to stay and fight for his place, and all the reports are that he's training much harder than he ever has done before. He is lethal in front of goal. He's got a turn of pace, but will he be given time to prove it under the new manager? Because actually, with our system, it's more like a European system where the manager doesn't really have a say in the transfers. He just makes recommendations, and it's the club owners and the board that make the decisions. And if they're offered enough money, and there's talk that we've been offered £8 million for Vidra, which would be a good profit turnaround after loaning him out and getting £2.5 million for him last season on loan. I think it's going to be taken out of Vidra's hands and out of Mazzari's hands, and I think he'll be on the way. Neal had a really bad game against Gillingham. I expect to see him loaned out or sold. Amrabat is the man that everyone's talking about at the moment because he's turned round. No one was really impressed at the end of last season, but he started the season well. So he's looking like he's going to keep his place in the squad. So it's really difficult. It's chuck a coin up in the air. I think it's literally going to be who comes in and makes offers for some of these players because there's some are equal, sort of fairly good quality. And you wouldn't necessarily say who would be a better player in that position, but we've got too many people. So in the next week there's going to be a lot of frantic loaning out going on.
Yeah, and that's kind of the Watford model, isn't it? Buy them in and loan them out for a fee, or sell them on, after a season or two for a fee.
Yeah, absolutely. And there'll be other teams that are desperate because they haven't made the signings they want to make, so they'll be looking for loan players. I don't think we'll have a problem loaning them out. It's just very strange being at a club that's willing to pay £6 million for a player just to loan him to a different club.
Okay, so you've talked about Paredes being out. Probably Nayon, was it? Nayon?
Yeah, Nayon. I really wouldn't want to say the others tell the truth. I wouldn't want to cast aspersions on any of the other players. It's just, it's weirdly enough, it's going to be some of the players we've actually brought in, which is just, like I said, just very strange.
So do you think people like, is it Arkless, the goalkeeper who played when Gomez was injured at Aston Villa?
I'm surprised he hasn't gone already, tell the truth. He will be going somewhere. and we've been trying to sell him. So that doesn't look good for our return on him, the fact that he hasn't gone already. We might actually take a bit of a hit on that.
Yeah, okay, I suppose you can't win them all.
Yeah.
Now, one of the summer signings is Isaac Success, and he's back in training.
Yeah, this is good news because up front, Igalo and Dini haven't really, if we're going to get rid of Richard, haven't really got anyone pushing them to challenge them for their places. And as Isaac Success is a man who will, and big talent by all accounts, lots of skill, lots of pace, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him at Vicarage Road soon, hopefully.
Okay, that's great. Now tomorrow, Watford playing Arsenal, and I did read some in one of the previews for the game. What Arsenal have had a hard start to the season, which kind of made me smile in view of Watford's start and who they've still got to play in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and it's nice that they've got their hard start continues by coming to Vicarage Road. Yeah, they had a terrible performance against Liverpool, and last week very lacklustre against Leicester. But we'll give them a game for their money. As long as we start like we did against Chelsea last week with the tempo and the passing game we were playing, we'll really worry them. The good news for Arsenal and the bad news for Watford is Mesut Ogle is back, and he's their key, he's their playmaker. He's the one with the skill who opens up defences, so we're going to have to be very wary of him. Let's hope he doesn't come back from injury and hit the ground running, as it was. Let's hope he takes a week or two to ease himself into the squad.
Okay, so how many of the new Watford players do you think might be either starting or on the bench tomorrow?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was only Pereira on the bench. If you look at the way the team started against Chelsea, there's no real reason to change that starting 11. They played incredibly well together. I'd give them starting 11 another chance. And they said just Pereira is a player who can change a game. That's what we suffered with last week at the end of last week's game when we did go 2-1 down. And I know there was only like 5 minutes left. We didn't make a single chance. So he's the sort of player who could definitely break open the defence. So I'd expect to see him, and then probably the other two will make the matchday squad next week.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. Now, of course, the other team we follow are Kings Langley, who have had 3 successive promotions, and they are playing again tomorrow. But last weekend they drew 2-2 at home to Frome Town. Yes,
Frome Town, who I think they were 3rd in the league, coming that game. So good result for Kings Langley. They're finding their feet. After a few early defeats, they got the 4-0 win, which sort of blew the cobwebs away. But 2-2 against Frome Town, that's a great result. Not a very inspiring match by all accounts. It was a windy, wet day. If anyone knows Kings Langley's pitch down by the canal, it's very open and open to the elements. So it wasn't a pretty game to watch. But they had a former Watford youngster, Jorrell Johnson, making his debut, so that was nice. That someone who hasn't made it into professional ranks for Watford is still managing to play for a local team at a good level. So good result, onwards and upwards. And tomorrow they're at home against Redditch United. It's a 3 p.m. kickoff. And Redditch are only 1 point more than them in the league at the moment, so Kings Langley will be hopeful of a win out of that one.
Yeah, so as you said, it's home kick-off at 3 o'clock, yeah?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, now Radlett had a weekend of mixed fortunes.
Yes, Radlett in the league, dominant as ever. Were only set a very low score in about 120 by Hertford, and they rattled that off with only 2 wickets down. Unfortunately, the big game was the Sunday. It was the playoff game to get them through to the televised 2020 finals day, and unfortunately, Swardeston just too strong for them. They were supposed to be playing Nottingham West Indians, but they got disqualified for the competition. Swardeston stepped in and they took their chance after thinking they weren't going to be there. Now they're the ones that are going to be on the televised games. It's a real shame because it would have been the first time a Hertfordshire team had got through to the final. Radlett have been playing incredibly well, but not this season.
I mean, they're still top of the league, though, aren't they? By their league by 26 points.
Yeah, by some way. I'm not sure if that's mathematically wrapped up yet, but yeah, they're going to win that league.
Yeah, it looks like it. Especially since tomorrow they're playing SWHerts, who are second from bottom, 176 points behind Radlett.
Yeah, that's a golfing difference. I, I'd be interested to see what Radlett do tomorrow. That sort of thing. All depends if they want an early tee or not. If they want an early tee and they win the toss, they'll put SWHerts into bat, not rattle them out for about 100 odd, and they'll all be in and done by tea time.
Yeah, well, we certainly hope so, and hopefully the weather forecast will match what's happening today as well.
Absolutely. Weather forecast doesn't look great over the weekend, to tell the truth.
Well, it is a bank holiday, so
Yeah.
perhaps we shouldn't raise our hopes too much.
But I just realised I didn't do a Watford prediction.
Okay, we'll come back to that. What is your prediction?
Watford are going to win 1-0.
Bold. I think that's very bold because they haven't beaten an Arsenal in a league game in the last 6 attempts, have they? Although they did beat Arsenal in the Cup last year.
Yeah, they did beat Arsenal in the Cup last year, but having watched the first 2 games of the season, we're going to give them a good game, that's for sure.
Okay, right. So, I will remember that and pick you up on it next week. I mean, so far you've got one right and unfortunately you were wrong with the other. But, 50% strike rate is pretty good going.
Yeah, I'll be happy if I end the season with 50%. That'll be good.
Yeah, as long as you keep predicting Watford to win every game. Okay, well, thank you very much for that, Neil.
Okay, I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, I'll speak to you soon. Okay, Chris.
Yeah.
Hi. Let's talk a little bit before we go on to what's happening this weekend and everything about open talk on L4G TV. I don't know a lot about this initiative at the moment because I know that you've only just sort of agreed a format and everything with someone who's going to be running the scheme and the programs. But could you fill us in with a few details, please?
Yes. So this is an idea that cropped up actually less than a week ago. It was something that popped up in conversation and fits quite nicely into the framework of what Link for Growth are doing with L4G.tv. And the idea is that there's lots of people out there that are quite excited about different subjects, about different points. So, for example, I get involved in lots of conversations about the Olympics. I get involved in conversations about education. I get involved in conversations about Brexit. And I get involved in conversations about all manner of things like vaccinations, like etc., etc. So I've created a group in Facebook called Open Talk TV, which people can come along and ask to join. And obviously we haven't launched this yet, so this is all a bit in advance of the launch, but I have no problem sharing it with you, as is my wont. And so basically people can join this, and if they want to have a discussion about a subject, they can create a new thread. They can put the date and the time in which the discussion is going to take place, and they can invite people to come and join them in that discussion. So the group of people that are involved in the group, of which will end up being many thousands, one would think, could basically, if they're interested in participating, they can go in and they can comment on the thread and put, if they're the first person to comment, 1 and their email address and the fact they'd like to participate. And then the next one would be a 2, and the next one a 3, and the next one a 4. Maximum of 4 people to be able to join in the conversation. Otherwise, it'll get into a rowdy ensemble. And then we need a facilitator, and a facilitator's role in this is just essentially to set the Hangout on Air up inside the L4G.tv YouTube account, and for the date and the time as specified, and then ensure that the people who have requested to be on the show are given the details to basically connect in and join the show. It'll go out live, and anybody can watch it. So it will be essentially an online debate about a particular subject, which is available for people to comment. So we haven't yet worked out whether there'll be the facilitator, the person that's essentially helping to make the technical stuff happen, will be watching some kind of Twitter account or whatever to catch commentary that's going on, so they can update the people in the hangout with questions that are being, or things that are being said by viewers. But anyway, I think it'll be, I personally am really looking forward to launching it. I think it'll be a whole heap of fun, and it'll encourage people to join the debate, a bit like Question Time, where you can join in yourself.
Sounds really exciting, Chris. And I suppose this is going to launch, what, in a couple of weeks' time?
Well, I'm hoping that I've written up the specification for people to join in. So the process, how they go about doing it. So the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4. We just need a few people to step up to be technical facilitators. I'll go through a little bit of training with those people. And then we just launch it, basically, and we just see what happens. And I guess the person that's organising the discussion could even come up with a hashtag that they want to use for the purposes of that discussion, or we could use a standard one like BBC QT, but I don't know, OTT.
Yeah, we get
OTTV or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that one's been used.
OTTV. I don't know whether that's been used.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Anyway, we could come up with a hashtag which people can utilise. The thing is, there'll be lots of discussions going on potentially at the same time, so we might need to have a hashtag which is relevant to the particular discussion.
Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? Okay, so we look forward to hearing about how and announcing in the next couple of weeks that the whole scheme has gone live.
Yeah, well, I'll probably be featuring it in the L4G national show, which is a week Saturday, first Saturday of the month.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for that, Chris. Now, earlier on we talked about barbecues and the dangers of barbecues, and Peace Hospice has a barbecue tomorrow.
They do. Now, this is an interesting one. I've only just picked up on this. It's at the Hammer in the Hand over in Leavesden, actually, in Ganders Ash. Interesting thing about this particular one, apart from the fact that it's a Peace Hospice event, is that I went to school with this guy, Paul Johnson's, who's organising this. Paul Johnson actually owns the Hammer in the Hand, and I went to Leavesden Green School with him. He went to then went on to Francis Coombe. He's a local business guy. He owns PJ Mortgages, which is on St Albans Road as well, and a variety of other interests as well. So I think that Benjamin Johnson is his father, who died in 2013. And this particular barbecue is being held at the Hammer in the Hand. It's 12 o'clock, I think 2 o'clock till midnight on tomorrow, on Saturday. And just turn up, and all proceeds go towards the Peace Hospice. Now, I'm guessing that his father passed away at the Peace Hospice, which is why this is all the proceeds are going there. But yeah, so I know a little bit of the history of this. I actually knew his father and his mother as well, so bit of personal involvement in that story as well.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that. Push It for the Peace. Still time to sign up.
Yeah, Push It for the Peace. This is the mucky 5 miles of sweat, mud, obstacles, teamwork as well, allegedly, on the 24th of September. Chiswell Green in St Albans. You can sign up for that on their website, and and go and get messy down there with them. How much is it to participate? You have to pay something, £35 per person, and go along there and have a whole heap of fun. That's on the 24th of September.
Yeah, and you pre-register via the Peace Hospice website.
Yep.
Okay, another hospice who are holding a walk this time is the Michael Sobel.
Yeah, we've got their annual sponsored walk, 3 or 7 miles, 18th of September, 8 a.m. till noon over in Northwood. Adults £10, family 25, 2 adults, 2 children, and under 16s a £5. You can enter on that link on their website and join in the festivities. You specify whether you want to do the shorter or the longer walk, and away you go. The walkers are going to be ploughing on through Moor Park, Rickmansworth Golf Course, as well as walking along the canal, and then from Springwell Lock back to the hospice base for refreshments. So all good stuff.
Okay, that's really good. The hospices in Francis are holding a golf day coming up, and there's still time to register.
14th of September. You can go and do this. It's Ashridge Golf Club. It's on a Wednesday, and the golf course there at Ashridge has been used for was opened in 1932, but it's been used for various tournaments and qualifying competitions and stuff. So it's a very good course. Regularly hosted PGA events as well for men and ladies. So it'd be a splendid day out if golf's your thing. £95 for non-members, £60 for members. That includes a evening meal with a raffle and live auction as well going on there. So if golf's your thing and you want to support a charity or a hospice, go along and do that.
Yeah, and you can register and find out more about contact details at the St Francis Hospice website, which is stfrancis.org.uk. That's stfrancis.org.uk. And they're a busy bunch down at the Hospices of Francis because they've got the Cook's Challenge.
Yeah, this looks like a whole heap of fun. This is going on between the 29th of September and the 19th of November. And it's all about getting people to be able to cook some basic tasty food. So the people that book onto this, and it's 40 quid, I think, to get yourself on this. What you're gonna get full instructions and supervision for 8 weeks, hands-on cookery lessons by the award-winning chef there, Chris Took. You get induction thing followed by a champagne reception, unique apron, which you can obviously take away. You get all your ingredients, recipes, and a folder book, 3-course dinners, which you're actually cooking yourself, so you get to eat them as well. Which so if there's any incentive to do a good job, you're going to have to eat it. And leaving the table until it's finished. That's for sure. Yeah, that's a bit of fun, and you've got to do certain things though. You can apply online. It's going to cost you 40 quid if you're successful. If you are successful, you've also got to guarantee you're going to raise £500 in sponsorship, and you've also got to sell 7 tickets to the celebration dinner on the Saturday 19th of November, and the tickets are £25 each. So you've got to put a bit of oomph into this. You've got to be somebody that really wants to do it. Don't sign up and then chintz out and wilt out on it.
No, it does look a lot of fun, and of course cookery programs are very popular on TV, and Great British Bake Off has also just started this week, gone. So if you are into cooking, it'd be a great opportunity, but don't know how to, it'd be a great opportunity to learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, on to the big screen on the beach. it's the final weekend for the big screen. It ends on Monday evening. It's closed at the bank holiday. There's lots happening, isn't there, Chris?
There is. You've missed Finding Nemo. That was on a little bit earlier today. You've still got time if you rush down there to watch Top Gun. That's just starting. And you can boogie on down at 7:15 with Dirty Dancing today if you fancy that. Tomorrow we've got Frozen Sing-Along, Lion King, Grease. Sunday we've got Paddington, Mamma Mia and Jaws. And on Monday we've got Star Wars, The Force Awakens. And if you're into your white military outfits and testosterone, you can watch Top Gun on Monday at 5 p.m. So fun for everyone there, I think.
Yeah, and generally I think from what I've seen walking past and everything, it's been very popular.
I think it has, but you know, like all these things, you've got to have the weather, and the weather's been quite kind actually over the last week or so. And I've gone past on the rainy days, and it's looked all a bit very despondent down there. But the weather's good at the moment, so
yeah. And of course, it's not only films. If you want to build sandcastles, you can tomorrow.
Well, you missed it today because that was on at 10, but tomorrow Sandcastle Club starts at 10 a.m. and then after that Top Golf take over, and they're doing all sorts of golf related stuff down there, so you can do that from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Sunday. The Sandcastle Club's there from 10 a.m. again, with YMCA are showcasing their gymnastics team down there as well as a multi-sports circuit. So if you want to go down and check that out, you can do that. On Monday, 10 a.m. is the Sandcastle Club again. Circus workshop and show with Auntie Julie. Try plate spinning and juggling. Take your own black bin liners, I think. Free play and mini show. So yeah, so lots going on down there.
Okay, that's good. Now the horns. They seem to have something slightly different on tonight with a Club Classics Ladies Night.
Yeah. I don't know what this is about, really. As we now know, just what you ladies like. So this looks like a thing for all the ladies. So if you're a man, you might want to go and stand around there and see what's going on. Looks like it's being touted as a ladies' night. So let's see what happens. I will be. I won't be walking past there actually, because I'm going to probably drive down to Bushy. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, £3 after 9:30, but free to get in before, I guess. Have fun. That's down there tonight, ladies' night.
Yeah, I think it's a DJ playing stuff on a deck.
Yeah, DJ Hoagie Mark Hogarth spinning his tunes all night long. There you go. Club classics from back in the day.
Oh, well, we're too young to remember back in the day, aren't we, Chris?
I don't know what they mean by back in the day. If it's back in the day 2010, then I'm in.
Okay, now tomorrow there's a band called Scandal.
Yeah, they're a real regular to the Horns, this crowd. Always a good party night. Covers from all sorts of eras and stuff. Great fun night. Yeah. Get down there tomorrow at 9 p.m. to 1 a.m.
Okay, and then on Sunday they have two gigs. The first one being The Power of Soul.
Yeah, this is on from 4 till 7 p.m. They've got a classic, a band from Northwest London playing classic 1960s soul covers. So they're all geared up for that. There's a nice picture on the Horns website. If you love your soul, get down there tomorrow afternoon and boogie.
Okay, and then on Sunday, they have again two events. The first being front covers.
Yeah, 8 p.m. till midnight. This is the After the Soul, I think, and yeah, they're playing. What are they playing? They're playing 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and noughties rock, pop and soul, classic or future. Sorry, or mixture, not future. Future would be really, really impressive, wouldn't it? Mixture of danceable and sing-along songs from all genres, really, from 8 p.m. till midnight. That's on Sunday.
Okay, that's great. And on Monday, they have, again, two bands. Of course, Monday being the bank holiday Monday. The first one being Tiny Tina Rock and the Blues Band.
Yeah, they've got Tina Turner group there playing all the tributes of to Tina Turner. She looks the part as well, and they got a band there. Simply the best. Simply the best. They're saying there. Definitely is 4 till 7 p.m. on Monday afternoon. So if you like Tiny Tina or Tina Turner, then you might want to go along and watch that and join in the fun. All the favourites. Don't Need Another Hero. What's Love Got to Do with It? Nutbush, City Limits, Proud Mary, Simply the Best, Love Thing, Private Dancer. Well, the list is endless, isn't it, with Tina Turner?
It is. She's fabulous. Okay, now on Monday evening, if you've still got energy following on from the bank holiday, it's oxygen at the Horns.
Well, if you haven't got any energy, you can go along and get some oxygen, can't you? So that's what that's all about, I guess. 8:30 p.m. along there and get some oxygen. So this is every Monday night they have this, which is local indie acts. So it's free. Get along there. There's no definition, I don't think, of what this actually is, because it could be pretty random, I think. But if you still got energy and you want to go along on a Monday night, bank holiday Monday, and enjoy yourself, 8:30 p.m. down at the Horns.
Yeah, the poster indicates it seems to be a night of new bands playing original music.
Yeah.
No free entry and no levy on drinks, so that's pretty good going. If you're into new type of music, perhaps it's a place to go on Monday evening. Okay, now this weekend we've got Absolutely Fabulous, the movie showing.
We have indeed. That's on tonight, 7:30 p.m. at the Palace Theatre. £8, concession £6.50, and it's being shown again on Sunday at 7 p.m. Same price. If you've got one of these rumour tickets and you're a young person, you can get in for £4. All the regular card handling. So it's 7:30 tonight and 7 p.m. on Sunday if you want to catch a bit of Absolutely Fabulous. Okay,
that sounds really good. And finally, Yellow Comedy, and we talked about this a little bit earlier on. They've a new venue this evening.
Yes, they are at LJ's Coffee House. If you don't know where that is, if you manage to navigate your way to Bushy Station and you come out and you look at the road and you look opposite the road, you will be looking at LJ's Coffee House. And this is LJ's Coffee House is part of the Coffee Shop Union, which is part of Link for Business. And we've arrived at LJ's because the relationship between Yellow Comedy, Link for Growth, and the local independent coffee shops, which is a fantastic success story of local collaboration. So really, really pleased to see this move on to Jackie's coffee shop. She's a lovely, lovely lady. So if you like your comedy and you're down in that Bushy Arches kind of neck of the woods or Oxley Village, it's just a short stroll down the road. Go grab some local comedy. You won't be disappointed.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And that starts at 8 o'clock and doors open at 7:30, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And as with all yellow comedy events, it's free to get in, but you have to pay to leave.
You do have to pay to leave, and please give generously, otherwise Andy will have something to say to you.
Yes. Anyway, well, thank you for all of that, Chris.
Well, there's other comedy stuff going on. I just want to mention, well, there's another one on Saturday, next week, which we'll probably talk about next week. But also, we on the 9th, Yellow Comedy is at the Kitchen, which they've been at now. I think that'll be the 6th or 7th event at the Kitchen. But that's another coffee shop union relationship type thing, and they actually have another new venue on the 17th of September, which is a Saturday evening at Perk Coffee Shop in Carpenter's Park down near South Oxley, which is another one of the Coffee Shop Union relationship collaboration. So great to see all these comedy events going on locally. A real addition to the local sort of live act scene, and well done to Yellow Comedy for putting it on, and well done for Link for Growth and the coffee shops for providing these venues that these things can take place in.
Yeah, exactly, and it is a collaboration that is going from strength to strength. I mean, it all started off with Yellow Comedy at Reason, didn't it? And it's grown now to 3 other venues.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's now 4 venues in independent coffee shops, which is brilliant. You know, it just goes to demonstrate the versatility of the coffee shop, the independent coffee shop, and actually how they can become quite a centre for community development in the local area, and that's really something that we're pushing to develop right around the country. So,
okay, thank you for that, Chris. Link for Growth next week. There are 3 events happening. On Wednesday, there's Link for Drinks, but as I keep saying, it's at Croxley, so that means it's alcohol-free cocktails. Chris, are you bartendering again?
I will be donning the pink hat and the pinny and doing my thing in the kitchen. So please do come down and enjoy that. Well, I'm going to be playing around with some ingredients over the weekend to come up with my what do you call signature cocktail. So come down and enjoy some of that next week. It's going to be a bit of fun. We had a great time last time, and virgin pina coladas, mojitos, and snake bites and all that kind of stuff. So do come down and enjoy.
Okay. And then on Thursday, the 1st of September, we have Link for Coffee at the Perk Coffee Shop, which you mentioned earlier on, because they're going to be hosting their first Yellow Comedy in a couple of weeks' time. That's Thursday morning. The coffee mornings at Perk start slightly earlier, and they go from 9:30 to 11. That's Perk Coffee Shop in Carpenter's Park, so it's quite easy to get to on the train if you can't drive. It's usually quite a good turnout down there from what I remember, which is fabulous. And on Friday, there's Link for More, which is the corporate social responsibility lunch at Scotsbridge Mill between 12 and 2. And this, again, is a great opportunity for local charities to meet up with local businesses and organisations and see how they can help each other, either by providing goods or services, or offering some sort of specialist expertise. Because what people often forget is that charities often have some expertise that some small companies would otherwise need to buy in because they don't have that particular skill themselves. So it's always a good venue to exchange some ideas and to exchange perhaps and to establish some cooperative projects between the commercial sector and the third sector, which I think is fabulous. And it's been going quite a while now, hasn't it, Chris?
Yeah, a few years now, but I'm going to be sending out email correspondence with inviting charities to 50 charities a month, new charities a month over the next 10 or 12 months or so that we can really start to build up the integration between local business and the charity sector or community sector, I should say, not charity sector. And we are looking for people to help us with that, to get a bit more involved and stuff. So if you are looking to volunteer and you'd like to get involved in doing something which is very positive and constructive in the local community, then do get in touch with us.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that, Chris, and filling in on that. That's it for this week's show. I'd like to thank Neal for all the sports information, and for Chris for chipping in and with the news section, and also for doing the filling in for Catherine on the charity and events section at the end of the show. And so with that, I'd say thank you very much. If you do want to get in touch with us during the week for us to cover a story, quite often we send, if you're a regular viewer of the show, you'll know that we send Chris out and about and put him in strange places like pubs and bars and breweries and bakeries and all these other places, and get him to interview various people and various local business owners or charities to help raise their profile. And let me know so I know where to send him next time. And in the meantime, we'd like to thank you for watching, and please do get in touch with us if you have any questions about Link for Growth via our Twitter feed at L4G SWHerts. And with that, it's time to say cheerio, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.